This is me dipping 55 kilos for reps. But 1 year ago, my max was 20 kilos on dips. This is the exact program change I did to make it happen. I started off with push-pull legs. And to be honest, the progress was actually pretty good because of the newbie gains, right? But I then hit a massive, huge 2 month plateau where my weights were actually going down on some of my lifts. And this was mainly because I was training way too hard and had no idea what deloads were. But I then switched from my push-pull leg split into a tiered movement-based split. And this was by far the biggest ROI change that I made. It took my dips from 20 kilos to 35 kilos for reps in 3 or 4 months. So why does this work so well? It's because of a couple reasons. You're able to get way more specific volume. What I mean by that, you do way more dips, right? And also dips are very specific to your goal. You also train your movements way more frequently compared to, let's say, push-pull legs, which is just 2 times a week, maybe doing 6 sets of dips. But if you choose a tiered movement-based program, you do maybe 12 sets of dips per week. So this is how it looks like. And as you can see, there are primary, secondary, tertiary workouts. That's kind of the priority of the workouts. Making a program like this is kind of complicated and takes a while. But I'm coming in clutch and made a simple AI prompt to do this for you. Just go to the description, go past the links, and copy the prompt, and then paste that into Gemini. I found it works best. Change Gemini into thinking mode, and then fill it out. Choose your days that you're working out per week, and then choose your exercises, but make sure your exercises are 1 less exercise than the amount of days you're training per week. If you're training 5 days a week, pick 4 exercises. Then make sure you put the exercises into the priority you want them to be, so whichever ones you want to get stronger at right now. And I would recommend trying to go specific on a few exercises, and in general, picking less exercises is better because you'll have a better focus on them right now. And then when you want to get better at the other one, you can just do it after your next deload, right? If you want me to go over your program and personally coach you one-on-one, join Weightisthenics. That is my free community, and I'll send you a DM there. We'll hop on a call and we'll figure out your whole training, basically go over your life review. So I then use this program as a general strength phase, doing stuff like 3x6 at RPE 9, RPE 8. And what RPE means, by the way. RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion, and it's the opposite of reps in reserve. So let's say RPE 10 means you had 0 reps in reserve, RPE 9 means 1 rep in reserve. So you have this weekly split, but what do you actually do in the gym? First off, you look at what you're training today, then you look at the example program, and you choose your exercises. Let me go over how you do this. First off, let's say it's a primary day, right? So let's say we have primary pull-ups. That's the example I'll take. First off, you start with pull-ups at 3x6, RPE 8 to 9. So you leave 2 or 1 rep in reserve. After that, you do a back off and or a weakness. So a back off is just easier sets of the same movement. So 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps at RPE 7. So you leave 3 reps in reserve, and or you do a weakness at 3x8 RPE 7. So a weakness for pull-ups will be half log pull-ups, right? So you go up, you go halfway down, lock it out. Let's say another weakness could be you're really bad at the top part, so you just hold it at the top. There are many ways to do this. Ask ChatGPT if you don't know what exercise to use. I recommend just trying out doing the weakness sometimes, trying out doing the back off, trying out maybe combining them and reducing the sets, but I would just recommend experimenting with it and see what you enjoy. After that, you have a different compound movement that uses the same muscles. So let's say for pull-ups that could be dumbbell rows, or maybe it could be machine rows, or maybe mid-back rows, something like that. And at the end, you have an isolation. This is optional though, if you did both the back off and the weakness movement, but if you did just one of them, try out do the isolation. So this will be 3x8 to 12 at RPE 8 to 9. By the way, for primary, secondary, and tertiary, it's basically the same workout, you just cut off from the bottom. So your primary day has 4 or 5 exercises, your secondary day has 2 exercises, and your tertiary day has 1 exercise. And the last step, please follow the RPE. This is so important. And if you're overshooting the RPE, if you're training way too hard or training just not hard enough, what'll happen is you're just gonna need to either deload really often, like every 2-3 weeks, which is not optimal at all, or you're never gonna need to deload because you're training like 5 or 6 reps in reserve. If you're still around 10 to 30 kilo dips, follow what I just talked about before. But after that phase, my progress started plateauing slowly. It wasn't like a massive plateau, but it was like getting worse and I could see it. I wanted to fix that, so I went and learned about periodization. This just means having certain periods with certain focuses. This is what all athletes do, if you didn't know. This is what like powerlifters do. This is what everyone does who's like actually good at their sport. And it goes like this. You start off with a volume phase where you do higher reps, lower intensity. This is mainly to practice the movement and also to like drop the fatigue a little bit. After that, you have a strength phase, which is kind of what I talked about in like the previous segment of this video. Then you have your peaking phase. This is the most specific to your goals, right? If you're peaking for 1 rep maxes, if like 1 rep maxes are your goal, you usually train like around like 2 to 4 reps at like 2 to 3 sets, something like that. So really low, but also really intense at the same time. But if your goals are like, let's say 10 rep maxes, you'll train specifically for 10 rep maxes. If your goals are 5 rep maxes and so on. The time frame of each of these phases can vary a lot. And this, to be honest, can be up to you. It can be just how you like to train. But I would say try the different ones out and see which one you like. You can change the period like daily, meaning that one day you go and do like a volume day, then the other day you do a strength day, then the other day you do like a peaking day. Or you can also do this weekly, so you can have like a week of volume, a week of strength, and a week of like peaking. Or you can even do this like every training block, which can be every like 3 to 7 weeks, right? You can have like your volume phase like 4 weeks, then your strength phase for like another 4 weeks, and then your peaking phase for like 1 or like 1.5 weeks. Because peaking, just to tell you, you cannot peak for a long time because you have your central nervous system on like full blast and you cannot just keep it there, right? It's just kind of a practicing specifically for your phase. And after that, you generally have a deload, then you go ahead and test your max. Yeah, okay, this is pretty good, but why do we even do this? It's because of a few reasons. Your body actually doesn't want to get stronger and bigger. That is not its goal, because back in the day, that wouldn't have helped. Its goal is to stay the same and become as efficient as possible at what it's doing. So by changing the stimulus, by changing the rest times, the sets, the reps, and the intensity, we're able to constantly give it a new stimulus and force it to keep on adapting to new things. That way, it doesn't stall and plateau as fast. When you periodize your training, you also plan out your deloads. And what that does is we drop the accumulated fatigue, right? Your body accumulates fatigue in your nervous system, your muscles and everything. You might not even feel the accumulated fatigue, but we drop it before you actually start plateauing, because by then it's already too late. Also, the injury risk is way lower because we give time for injuries to heal, obviously during deloads, but also during volume phases, when you do higher reps, because your like ligaments and all your tendons and stuff, at higher reps, lower intensity, they don't really need to do much, versus when you're peaking, let's say, for 1 rep maxes or 3 rep maxes. And periodizing also allows us to lock in specifically on some movements. And I'm sure you've lived life and seen whenever you really have like a deep period of like focusing on, let's say, studies or focusing on like some sport or something, you get way better at it. And that's what we're able to do with just like 1, 2, maybe 3 movements, right? And we're able to progress rapidly at them. And so I'll put up the examples here. I'm not going to go into every single phase very specifically, but this is kind of how it goes. In your volume phase, you generally train at like 4 sets of 8, and you're usually around RP 7. After that, for your strength phase, you're usually at around 3x6, 3x5, stuff like that, and at RPE 8 to 9. Your peaking phase is the most customizable, as in if you're training for 1 rep maxes, you'll do stuff like 3x3, 3x4, maybe even like 2x2, 3x2, stuff like that if you're a bit more advanced, right? But if you're peaking for 5 rep maxes, or specifically for 7 rep maxes, let's say, you want to train as specific to that as you can. So let's say our goal is 7 rep maxes, we train like 3 sets of 7 reps at RPE 10. Or maybe we do 2 sets of 7 reps at RPE 10, and then we have like 2 sets of back off, which are like easier, at like RP 8 to 9 of 7 reps. To be honest, I could talk about this for like 4 or 5 hours, and this obviously won't fit in this YouTube video, so that's why I have my weight aesthetics, that is my free community below, where I have my courses, and I'll personally help you one-on-one to make a periodized training program for you. A few other changes I made along the way that also really helped me, even though they aren't like literally about training. The first one was fixing my social life. Having less dopamine generators, so finding cool friends, people I enjoy spending time with, and filtering out people who I don't want to spend my time with, as well as deleting social media and finding a better place to spend my time, which for me is YouTube and coaching. I made a video below on both of these, that is the 10x your life outside calisthenics video. After that, I also fixed my sleep. Recently it's been like insanely good these past 2 months, and this has helped me a lot because I took a 3-month training break. Like, I'm not gonna talk about why. It was like basically I was like forced to stop training, and now in like 1 month, 2 months, I'm already stronger than what I was before, which is actually really fast progress, and I can really credit this to my sleep, which I also made a video on, and I will also link that below. And most importantly, I keep on learning, and this should be you too. Don't like find one thing and then stick to it for absolutely forever. Yes, stay consistent. Don't change your program every couple of days, but keep on learning and trying out different things. This is what helped me out so much. Trying out different workout splits, like different ways to periodize your training, like trying out different self-improvement habits. Buying coaching from people more experienced than me as well helped me out so much. But my coaching is absolutely free right now. If you want to get it, join Weight Aesthetics, that is the first link below, where I also have my courses and a community of people going to similar goals like us. I hope to see you there, bro. See you, bro. Keep overloading.